AITA Stories. Story 1. AITA for telling my mom if her 3-month BF moves in, we move out. Hi everyone. I just feel torn and I hope this could help me on how to handle this going forward so I do not lose my mom. So my mom and dad had me at a very young age, my mom 17 and my dad 19. It was pretty tough, especially back in the day, but we all made it work somehow. But when I was 12, my dad got a heart attack and died, and it just left me and my mom. Ever since my dad, she has had 2 serious guys, but it never worked out because she always said, "No one can compare to your dad." Until now. I am married and my mom lives up at the coast in a very small town, the kind where the only shop for groceries is a small convenience store. My husband and I got into some financial issues, and my mom said we should move in with her so we can get back on our feet. I was skeptical at first because it is obviously not ideal, but my mom with her kind heart said, "I can see you feel bad about it. Don't. Life is hard enough and parents are there to lift their children up and catch them when they fall. You need to come back home and regroup and gather back strength so life is not that hard on you." Now my mom lives in a small coast property that she rents. The type of place that looks like a 1-bedroom cabin from the outside. Well, it's a 3-bedroom and 1-bathroom and walls are thin, the Wi-Fi is rocky because of the coast and all the wind, and my husband works remotely in IT. So it's definitely not ideal, but we are making it work. Well, we have been here 20 days now, and it was going so good it felt like a dream. But yesterday, my mom calls me. A guy she dated last year proposed to her and she hasn't given an answer yet, but she told him and his 16-year-old they are welcome to move in. A couple of hours after, she came back home all excited, but the smile quickly faded when I started asking questions. Nothing unreasonable, just the logical ones that got our heads spinning, like, how could you ask him to move in after one phone call of catching up after 3 months of dating a year before? How are we all going to live here? She got defensive and I tried explaining that I'm just worried about her and that it all feels a bit impulsive. A few hours of everyone just keeping out of each other's faces, my mom came to me asking if I would take a ride with her to the convenience store. On the road, she asked if I really am just worried about her. Of course. You are my mom and it would have been the same if the roles were reversed. Then she asked me, "Well, what do you want me to say?" I responded saying, "I want you to say you didn't just do something that impulsive without giving it some thought." Then she said, "It's my house. You're not going to be dictating what is allowed and who is allowed in my house." I agree, but you invited your daughter and son-in-law to come and live with you in already cramped space to help us, and not even 20 days later, you want to move a man in with his 16-year-old son and after only 3 months of. Story 2. AITA for ruining my sister's engagement party by bringing up a family tradition? Alright, buckle up because this story is going to be a bit of a ride. For context, I'm a 29-year-old guy, and my younger sister Liz, 26F, just got engaged to her boyfriend of 2 years, Jake, 30M. The engagement party was last weekend, and it ended with Liz in tears, me getting accused of being a self-centered jerk, and now half of my family refusing to talk to me. Here's the thing, in our family, we have this quirky tradition involving an heirloom engagement ring. It's not anyone's actual proposal ring, it's this gaudy, oversized monstrosity with a weird mix of gemstones that look like they were randomly thrown together by someone who just discovered bedazzling. My grandma swore it was fashionable in the 1920s, but let's be real, it's ugly as sin. Still, it's supposed to represent good luck in marriage, and it gets passed down whenever someone in the family gets engaged. When I proposed to my now wife Emily 3 years ago, I got the ring handed to me with all the pomp and ceremony, and we both had a good laugh about it. Emily and I kept it in a little box on a shelf because, while it's hideous, it's also kind of sweet in a sentimental way. Fast forward to Liz's engagement. Liz has always hated the ring. I'm talking, makes gagging noises whenever it comes up in conversation levels of hate. She's called it a cursed toad and joked that if she ever got it, she'd drop it into the nearest body of water. We all know how she feels, so I figured it'd be funny to bring it up in a light-hearted way during my toast at her engagement party. Big mistake. Huge. During the party, everyone was giving speeches. Our parents went first, then Jake's parents, then a couple of close friends. When it was my turn, I kept it short and sweet, congratulating Liz and Jake and sharing a funny memory of them. Then I said, "Liz, there's one more thing. As the next person in the family to get engaged, it's my duty to pass down the family heirloom ring. I know you think it's hideous, but hey, maybe Jake will think it's charming." I pulled out the ring box and held it up dramatically, expecting laughter. And, to be fair, most people did laugh. Except Liz. Liz looked like I'd just told her the wedding was cancelled and the venue was being converted into a landfill. After my toast, Liz pulled me aside and went off. She said I was humiliating her, making the party all about me, and ruining her special day. I was totally caught off guard. I tried to explain that it was a joke and that I didn't mean any harm, but she wasn't having it. She accused me of mocking her, dredging up something I knew she hated, and embarrassing her in front of Jake's family. At this point, Jake came over and looked awkward but not angry. He said something like, "It's just a ring, babe," which did not help. Liz stormed off, and Jake gave me a half-hearted shrug before going after her. The rest of the night was tense. My mom told me I should have kept the ring thing private and said it was in poor taste to bring it up in a speech. My dad, on the other hand, thought it was funny but said I probably should have read the room better. Emily thought Liz was overreacting but advised me to apologize to keep the peace. So, I did. Twice. Once at the party, she ignored me, and again the next day over text, where I wrote a long message explaining my intentions and apologizing if it came across as rude. Liz replied with, "Glad you finally understand how selfish you are. Don't talk to me until you're ready to be a better brother." Now, Liz isn't speaking to me, and our family group chat is a battleground. Half the family thinks Liz is being a drama queen, while the other half says I shouldn't have brought up something I knew she hated, especially in front of Jake's family. Even Jake's mom chimed in, saying the toast was tactless, but that Liz should let it go. So here I am, feeling like I walked into a minefield without realizing it. AITA? Story 3. AITJ for telling my dad I'd put him in a nursing home? TLDR. I came out to my dad, he exploded on me. It made me bring up the terrible things he did. I told him I'd put him in a nursing home and hoped he'd die alone. I, 22F, have been dating a woman for about 5 years. Despite my hesitation, I told my father 61M because I still have a semblance of affection for him and I'll be buying a ring soon. He reacted as I expected and went on a rant about how terrible my sexuality was and how I was faking it to piss him off. I am not here to argue about sexuality. It came around to the point where I told him I'd bring my girlfriend, just to prove it. He said something around the lines of, "If you show up I'll beat you both," to which I said I return the favor. He got really offended. Extremely angry as per usual and went on a rant about how disrespectful I was, and telling me he deserved my respect as my father. It triggered some ugly memories. I can't quite go in detail, but he's always been an angry person. Scary one moment, then love bombing the next. All my teenage years, my sister and I put up with him with the hope he'd change back to my loving childhood father. 13 marriages, 12 children, and the only 2 kids he raises are taught to fear him. I was really tired at that point. So I told him I didn't want him to attend any more of my events, including walking me down the aisle one day. I told him he was a terrible person and didn't deserve the love of a child, and I wished he'd left us like the other 10 kids. That I hoped he'd die sad and alone in a nursing home. My mom called a couple times, asking me to apologize because he lost his daughter and was mourning me. That I shouldn't have said what I said. AITJ? Thanks for watching.